PRABHU'SERA ஜூனியர் டாக்டர். நான் உங்க பிரபு பேசுறேன். இது நீட் ஜுவாலஜி கோச்சிங்கான ஆடியோ கம் வீடியோ புக். எபிசோட் 5, கிளாஸ் 11, யூனிட் 5, ஹியூமன் பிசியாலஜி, சாப்டர் நம்பர் 22, chemical coordination and integration. Topic: thyroid gland. We are going to discuss the thyroid gland under the 4 segment. Number 1, NEET points. Number 2, golden points. Number 3, bonus point. And number 4, previous year questions related to thyroid gland. NEET point segment. NEET points from NCERT books. In NEET exam, out of 90 questions in biology, 60 to 70 questions directly asked from NCERT books. So this NEET points taken from NCERT books, which helps to understand the concept of NCERT books. In NEET point segment, the thyroid gland are going to discuss under the 4 category. Number 1, thyroid gland structure. Number 2, what are the hormones secreted by thyroid gland, that is thyroid hormones. Number 3, thyroid hormones function. And number 4, thyroid hormone diseases. Thyroid gland structure. Look at the picture of the thyroid gland, which is located in the neck region, either side of the trachea and in between the larynx and trachea. Thyroid gland structure. Thyroid gland is composed of 2 lobes, that is bilobed structure, which is located either side of the trachea. These 2 lobes are interconnected with a thin flap of connective tissue called isthmus. The thyroid gland is composed of follicle and stomatal tissues. Each thyroid follicle is composed of follicular cells enclosing a cavity, which is called follicular cavity. Thyroid gland hormones, the hormones secreted by thyroid gland. This follicular cell synthesis 2 hormones. Number 1, triiodothyronine, commonly called T3, and tetraiodothyronine, commonly called T4. The tetraiodothyronine, otherwise called thyroxine. Iodine is essential for the normal rate of hormone synthesis in the thyroid gland. Look at the picture. This is a cross section of thyroid gland. You might have seen the thyroid follicles and C cell. Remember that the thyroid follicles, that is follicular cavity, produce the above said 2 hormone, that is T3 and T4. Now we are going to discuss about the C cell. The parafollicular cells or C cell produce the 3rd hormone, that is called thyrocalcitonin, TCT, commonly called calcitonin, which regulate the blood calcium level. So totally the thyroid gland secrete 3 hormones. Thyrocalcitonin, it's a protein hormone. Function of thyroid gland. According to NCERT book, that is NEET point, the thyroid gland hormone performing 4 important functions. Number 1, thyroid hormones play an important role in the regulation of the basal metabolic rate. Let me define the basal metabolic rate, that is BMR, in golden point segment. Number 2, these hormones also support the process of red blood cell formation. Thyroid hormones control the metabolism of carbohydrate, protein and fats. Number 4, maintenance of water and electrolyte balance is also influenced by thyroid hormones. The detailed function of thyroid gland and its hormone we will discuss in golden point segment. Thyroid gland disorder or diseases. As we discussed already, iodine is essential for the synthesis of thyroid gland hormones. If the deficiency of iodine in our diet, which result in hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism, that means the thyroid gland secrete less thyroxine hormone, which leads to enlargement of thyroid gland. Subsequently, the enlargement of neck region, because the thyroid gland present within the neck region. Commonly, this condition is called goiter. Thyroid gland disorder we can divide into 2 categories. Number 1, hypothyroidism, and number 2, hyperthyroidism. Let us discuss first the hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism during pregnancy. That means if the pregnant woman consume less iodine in their diet, causes defective development and maturation of growing baby, which lead into cretinism child. The cretinism child have a stunted growth and their mental activity also very low, mental retardation. Their IQ level also very low, low intelligent quotient, abnormal skin, and the child unable to speak and hear the sound, deaf and mutism. Hypothyroidism in adult woman. It's not a pregnant woman, normal adult woman, which may causes irregular menstrual cycle. Hyperthyroidism, that means the thyroid gland secrete excess amount of thyroxine hormone than the normal level. The hyperthyroidism occurs due to cancer of the thyroid gland or due to development of nodules of the thyroid gland, either in the cancer or nodules in the thyroid gland, which causes abnormal, enormous development of follicle cells. Absolutely, it leads to abnormal secretion of excess amount of secretion of thyroxine hormone. So the rate of synthesis and secretion of thyroid hormone is increased to abnormally high level, leading to the condition called hyperthyroidism, which adversely affect the body physiology. The example of hyperthyroidism is X-ophthalmic goiter, commonly called grave disease. Look at the picture of the grave disease person eyes. There's a protrusion of eyeball. That's why it is called X-ophthalmic goiter. Exo means outside. Ophthalmic means eyeball. X-ophthalmic goiter means protrusion of eyeball because of the accumulation of thyroxine hormone behind the eyeball, which have a lot of symptoms such as it is characterized by enlargement of thyroid gland, protrusion of eyeball, increased basal metabolic rate, and loss of body weight. Golden point segment. Golden points taken from the best biology NEET books such as Elementary Biology, Modern ABC, Errorless Biology, Resonance, and also taken from the best biology NEET study materials such as Allen material and AUKUS material. From these books and material, the PRABHU'SERA extracted the point and given to you as a juice in order to get maximum mark in NEET examination. So the golden points from golden books. Structure of thyroid gland. Look at the pictures. The thyroid glands located ventrolateral side of the trachea. Ventral side means front side. Lateral side means right and left side of the trachea. You can see the picture, you can clearly understand. And also, it is present on the trachea in between the larynx and trachea in the neck region. It is bilobed structure or H-shaped structure or butterfly-shaped structure. Each lobe of the thyroid gland made up of connective tissue. On the connective tissue, stomatial tissue also present. Follicle cells are also present on the connective tissue as scattered manner. Wall of the follicles made up of cuboidal glandular cells. These cuboidal glandular cells in each follicles leave a small cavity in the middle, which is called follicular cavity. See the cross section of the thyroid gland. You might have seen the many follicles, and in the middle the follicular cavity. The yellow color part indicates the follicular cavity. That follicular cavity filled with iodocolloidal substance called thyroglobulin. This thyroglobulin, it is a glycoprotein in nature. And notice the parafollicular cells of the thyroid gland. The parafollicular cells, otherwise called the C cell, secrete the hormone called calcitonin or otherwise called thyrocalcitonin, TCT. The parafollicular cells or C cells are found at the basal part of the follicles and stroma. Already we have discussed in the NEET point segment the thyroid gland, that is a follicular cell, secrete the two hormone T4 and T3. We don't want to repeat in the golden point. This calcitonin, which is secreted from the C cell, does not have iodine molecule. It's not an iodine hormones, it is a protein hormone. Now, the hormones of golden points. The T4 hormones, that is tetraiodothyroxine, secreted more quantity from the thyroid gland, approximately we can say 80%. But the T4 secrete less quantity, 20%. But the T3 have 4 times more effective than T4. The hormone tetraiodothyronine, T4, is a derivative of amino acid thyronine. That's why it is termed as tetraiodothyronine. This hormone have 4 iodine molecules. The T3 hormones have 3 iodine molecules. Thyroxine hormone synthesized in follicular cavity and stored in the follicular cells in the form of thyroglobulin, necessary for the 3-month. The 3-month thyroxine concentration quantity stored in the follicle cells as a thyroglobulin. Let us discuss the function of thyroxine in golden point segment. This thyroxine hormone regulates the BMR. BMR, the expansion of BMR, basal metabolic rate. The definition of BMR. For our day-to-day life, from morning when we wake up from the bed to till night when we go to the bed, we are doing the normal activities, not extraordinary activities like exercise, cycling, swimming, not those type of extraordinary physical activity. For the normal physical activities, we need the little quantity of energy. That energy produced from the minimum quantity of the metabolism occur in our body. So if we defined as a BMR, the minimum amount of calories means energy, required for the normal body function is termed as BMR. The thyroxine hormone increase the basal metabolic rate. That means it increase the energy. Yes, that means it increase the calories. That's why the thyroxine hormone is said to be calorigenic hormones. Genic, that means produce. It produces the calorie. So the thyroxine hormone is said to be calorigenic hormone. In order to increase the calorie, energy in our body, we require two important things. One is, for production of calorie, require two important things. One is oxygen and another one is glucose. The oxygen oxidizes the glucose and it produces the ATP, energy. As we discussed already, this thyroxine hormone is a calorigenic hormone. That means it produces the calorie. Subsequently, it increases the necessary things such as glucose level in our blood as well as oxygen level. So it increases the oxygen consumption, that is breathing rate it increase. And also it increases the oxidative metabolism, addition of oxygen to the glucose, so that the glucose will divide, break and produce the ATP, energy, in the form of calories. And you know very well, this calorie production, energy production and all occurs in the mitochondria. So the amount of mitochondria, the number of mitochondria also, this thyroxine hormone increase. So it increases the oxidative metabolism, it increases the mitochondria and also it increases the oxygen consumption rate. And also the main function of the thyroxine is helps to development of central nervous system such as brain and spinal cord. And also it is responsible for maturation of this central nervous system. That's why we have discussed in NEET point the cretinism child. For the hypothyroidism condition, the IQ level is very low, and also the mentally retarded child because of less thyroxine. So the thyroxine hormone is responsible for development and maturation of central nervous system. In women, the thyroxine hormone responsible for regulate the menstrual cycle. And another important function of the thyroxine in the case of frog, you may know about the metamorphosis. You may have learned from your lower class. The frog undergo metamorphosis. Metamorphosis means slowly the young one, the larva, change into adult. That process is called metamorphosis. For the metamorphosis of frog, the iodine is much more necessary. So if we remove the thyroid gland of the tadpole larva, the larva never undergo metamorphosis process and does not change into adult frog. At the same time, if you add the iodine or thyroxine to the tadpole larva water, the tadpole larva consume the thyroxine or iodine from the water and it increase the metamorphosis process, it hasten the metamorphosis process. It quickly reach the adult stage. The thyroxine hormone play a major role in metabolism, already we have discussed in the NEET points. In the case of fat metabolism, it catabolizes the cholesterol. Catabolism means breakdown of cholesterol. In carbohydrate metabolism, just now we have discussed, the thyroxine hormone is a calorigenic hormone. That means it produces the calorie. In order to produce the calorie, it requires glucose. So this hormone increase the glucose level in the blood. So this hormone called diabetogenic hormone. Diabetes, that means glucose, more glucose in the blood. It break down the complex carbohydrate and made into simple carbohydrate in the blood, and it increase the glucose level in the blood. It take the glucose from various sources and deposit it to the blood. So it is termed as diabetogenic hormone. In protein metabolism, it build up the protein with the help of amino acid, which is commonly called anabolism of protein. Now, the calcitonin hormone function in golden segment. Calcitonin hormone, otherwise called thyrocalcitonin, TCT. The main function of the calcitonin reduce the calcium level in the extracellular fluid, that is blood. It take the calcium from our blood and remove it through urine. So it increase the calcium excretion in the urine. And also it take the calcium from the blood and deposit to the bone, so that the bone become very strong and solid. Hence it reduce the bone destruction. So this calcitonin have opposite function to parathyroid gland hormone, that is parathyroid. The parathyroid gland hormone, parathyroid, increase the calcium level in the blood, but the calcitonin reduce the calcium level in the blood. So the calcitonin and para hormones are antagonistic to each other. The parathyroid also called Colles hormones because it's first isolated by Colles. The thyroid gland diseases such as hypothyroidism in hyperthyroidism in golden point segment. Hypothyroidisms are three types. Number 1, simple goiter. Number 2, cretinism. Number 3, myxoedema. This question itself possible to ask as a NEET question, such as cretinism is a hypothyroidism, or option B, hyperthyroidism, or hypoparathyroidism, or hyperparathyroidism. Such a question possible to ask. The hyperthyroidism example, grave disease or exophthalmic goiter. Simple goiter in golden segment point. Look at the pictures. The woman having swelled neck. The swelling of the neck is due to enlargement of thyroid gland. That is due to the deficiency of iodine. Because of the lack of iodine, the thyroid gland unable to synthesize the hormone thyroxine even though it work harder. Due to hard work, the thyroid gland it become expand. So the neck region increase enormously, swelled enormously. The simple goiter also called colloid goiter because already we have discussed the colloidal substance which is present in the follicular cavity only produce the hormone. So it is called colloidal goiter. It is also called endemic goiter because it spread to the people who are living in a particular locality. The simple goiter common in the people who are living in the mountain slope. In the mountain slope, there is no iodine content. Because of the rainwater, the salt having the iodine, that iodine also washed away due to slope area. So that the vegetables, fruits does not have iodine content in the mountain slope, so that people cannot get the iodine, which leads to simple goiter. There is no any other sources of iodine. Iodine present only in the little quantity in soil and more quantity in marine water, that is in salt. That's why our government of Tamil Nadu recommended to take iodized salt. Per day, we require very little quantity of iodine is necessary for the synthesis of thyroxine hormone. So naturally, the iodine have more quantity. The iodine sources are salt, marine water, and seafood such as fish and prawn. So the people who consume the seafood, they may not get simple goiter. The next disorder of hypothyroidism is cretinism. Already we have discussed clearly in the NEET point. It is due to hypothyroidism, that is less iodine in the diet during pregnancy, which leads to cretinism. Child it have a low IQ, mentally retarded, unable to speak and hear the sound. The next one is myxoedema. Look at the pictures of myxoedema, which is otherwise called gull disease. Myxoedema is the hypothyroidism occurs in adult, whether it is a man or woman. In the case of women, it affects the menstrual cycle. Now let me see the hyperthyroidism in golden point segment. See the eyeball of this pictures given of the grave disease persons. It is otherwise called exophthalmic goiter. The hyperthyroidism, it occurs due to cancer or nodules in the thyroid gland, which causes the enlargement of thyroid gland, which leads to protrusion of eyeball. The protrusion of eyeball because of the accumulation of thyroxine hormone in the backside of the eyeball. That's why it is called exophthalmic goiter. And it increases the BMR rate, basal metabolic rate. This grave disease have many names such as number 1, exophthalmic goiter, number 2, grave disease, number 3, Basedow disease, and number 4, Barrett's disease. Usually in the NEET exam, they may not ask directly the grave disease. They may ask the technical terms, other technical terms in order to confuse the candidate. So remember carefully this disease, technical terms and all. The negative feedback mechanism of the thyroid gland in golden segment point. It is an important part in the thyroid gland. Look at the pictures carefully. The negative feedback mechanism of thyroid gland involve 3 glands. Number 1, hypothalamus. Number 2, pituitary gland. And number 3, thyroid gland. You see the green color arrow mark. The green color arrow mark and all, the hormone traveled from gland 1 to 3. That means from hypothalamus to pituitary gland to thyroid gland. The red color indicate the reverse direction. That means the hormone travel from the thyroid gland to pituitary gland or else the thyroid gland to hypothalamus. This red color only indicate that negative feedback mechanism. Come, let us see in a detailed manner. Look at the green color part. First, the hypothalamus secrete TSH releasing factor. TSH means thyroid stimulating hormone releasing factor. It stimulates the pituitary gland. So the pituitary gland secrete TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. That thyroid stimulating hormone TSH stimulate the thyroid gland to secrete the thyroxine hormone. Now look at the negative part. Negative feedback mechanism. That means the red color part. Suppose if the thyroxine hormone in the blood is reduced, that information sent back to hypothalamus. Now the hypothalamus secrete more TSH. That more TSH releasing factor stimulate the pituitary gland to secrete excess amount of TSH from the pituitary gland. That excess amount of TSH once again stimulate the thyroid gland to secrete more amount of thyroxine. This is called negative feedback mechanism. Suppose in the blood, if the thyroxine level is very high, this mechanism occurs in an opposite manner. That means the hypothalamus secrete less TSH releasing factor and the pituitary gland secrete less or nil TSH. Subsequently, the thyroid gland reduces secretion or stop the secretion. Bonus point. The bonus points are basic point related to thyroid gland. Sometimes the basic point also may ask from the NEET examination. Among the all endocrine gland, thyroid gland is the largest endocrine gland. Thyroid gland origin from endodermal, is endodermal in origin. It is the only endocrine gland in our body which synthesize and store the thyroxine hormone in an inactive form for the next 3 months. The thyroxine hormones such as T4, tetraiodothyroxine, secrete 80% from the thyroid gland, whereas the T3 synthesis only 20%. We require 120 microgram of iodine for the normal production of thyroxine per day. Previous year NEET questions related to thyroid gland topics with answer. Question number 1. Calcitonin is a thyroid hormone which already we have discussed. Calcitonin secreted by C cell of the thyroid gland. Okay. Option A, elevate the calcium level in the blood. This answer is wrong because parathyroid gland hormone only increase the calcium level in the blood. Option B has no effect on calcium. This option also wrong option. Option C, elevate the potassium level in the blood. Calcitonin does not have any effect on potassium, so option C also wrong answer. Option D, lower the calcium level in the blood. This is the correct answer. So the correct answer is option C, lower the calcium level in the blood. Question number 2. This question asked from 1997 NEET question. Hormone thyroxine, adrenaline and the pigment melanins are formed from. These hormones and all derived from some amino acid. Option A, tyrosine. Option B, proline. Option C, tryptophan. Option D, glycine. These are all name of the sum of the amino acids. We know very well thyroxine which are derived from tyrosine. So the correct option is A. Option A, tyrosine. Question number 3, 1998 NEET question. The hormone which regulates the basal metabolic rate in our body is secreted from. Option A, adrenal cortex. Option B, pancreas. Option C, pituitary gland. And option D, thyroid gland. So easiest questions. The correct answer is option D, thyroid gland. Question number 4, 1995 NEET question. Which one of the following endocrine gland store its secretion in the extracellular space before discharging it into the blood? We already discussed in the golden segment point. Thyroid gland is the only endocrine gland which store the hormone 2 to 3 months. Let us discuss the option. Option A, testis. Option B, thyroid. Option C, pancreas. Option D, adrenal. So the correct answer is option B, thyroid. Question number 5, 1990 NEET question. Addition of a trace of thyroxine or iodine in water containing tadpole will. Option A, keep them in larval stage. Option B, hasten their metamorphosis. Option C, slow down their metamorphosis. And option D, kill the tadpole. It's a nice question. You might have remembered that in the golden segment we discussed that iodine or thyroxine hormone responsible for metamorphosis of frog. So the correct answer is option B, hasten their metamorphosis. That means increase the metamorphosis reaction. Preliminary exam 2010 question number 6. The toxic agent present in food which interfere with thyroxine synthesis leads to the development of option A, toxic goiter, option B, cretinism, option C, simple goiter, option D, thyrotoxicosis. The correct answer is option C, simple goiter. Number 7, NEET 2013 question. Select the answer which correctly matches the endocrine gland with a hormone it secrete and its function or deficiency symptoms. Endocrine gland, hormone, function or deficiency symptoms. Option A, thyroid gland, the hormone thyroxine, the deficiency symptoms, lack of iodine in diet result in goiter. It looks correct. Let me discuss the other option also. Option B, corpus luteum secrete the hormone testosterone. It is wrong answer because the corpus luteum present in the female ovary, it secrete progesterone. So option B is a wrong answer. Option C, anterior pituitary secrete oxytocin hormone. This one also wrong because anterior oxytocin hormone secreted from posterior pituitary lobe. Option D, posterior pituitary secrete the growth hormone. That answer also wrong because the growth hormone secreted from anterior pituitary gland. So the correct answer is option A, thyroid gland secrete the hormone thyroxine and the symptoms lack of iodine in diet result in goiter. One more NEET 2013 question number 8. A pregnant female deliver a baby who suffer from stunned growth, mental retardation, low intelligence quotient and abnormal skin. This is the result of this question directly taken from the NCERT books. We have discussed this point in NEET point segment. Option A, cancer of the thyroid gland. Option B, oversecretion of pars distalis. Option D, deficiency of iodine in diet. Option D, low secretion of growth hormone. We know very well option A, cancer of thyroid gland which secrete excess amount of thyroxine hormone which causes ex-ophthalmic goiter, but the correct answer is option C, deficiency of iodine in diet. After discussing the previous year NEET questions, you may know that how this video helpful to you. Thanks for watching. It's a PRABHU'SERA Junior Doctors NEET Zoology Coaching Kana audio cum video book. Continue to watch this channel for further videos in order to get maximum mark in NEET exam. Thank you.